Joe Biden did go on a late night TV show and he was supposed to be funny, but I don't know what is funny about this.
It's about how old your ideas are. Look, I mean, this is a guy who wants to take us back. He wants to take us back on Roe v. Wade. He wants to take us back on a whole range of issues that are 50, 60 years, they've been solid American positions. And I really mean this sincerely. I think it's about the future. And every single thing we've done, I think we've got some good things done. Everything, and they told us we couldn't get them done because things were so divided. And but I think everything we've gotten done, he's just friendly stated he wants to do away with if he gets elected. And I really think his views on where to take America are older than, anyway, I don't want to get going.
See, of course, he's going to cut himself off when it comes to the age part because Joe Biden knows that he's actually older than Trump. So he can't even sit here and say, oh, well, he's old and, oh, he has some bad. No, you're older than Trump. What are you talking about? So he cuts himself off when he knows that what Republicans are trying to do is protect life at every single stage of life. There's not one specific stage of life that you matter. Every single specific stage of life. If it was in the womb and you're just a embryo, that's a human embryo. If you are developing and you are a toddler or a baby, or now you are actually a teenager, a kid, if you're a tween, if you're an adult, or if you're an old person, you matter from every single stage of your life. That's what Republicans are saying. Thus, we should not kill you. Moving on to the next clip we have of Joe Biden here.
We're now in a position where we have the strongest economy of any major nation in the world, number one. We've got a way to go yet. Inflation is down, 880,000 manufacturing jobs. We have 14 million new jobs. The unemployment rate is the lowest it's been for the longest time.
Okay, so I love how he says all of these statistics here, and I don't mean to cut him off in the middle of his statement here, because I like to show the full clip of exactly what people are talking about to get the full context of what they are trying to say here. Is that if 14 million jobs have been added to the economy, then why are people still unemployed? The unemployment level is not at the lowest it's ever been. Maybe if you compare that to when everybody was unemployed during COVID and getting money from daddy government, then yeah, I would get what you're saying. But it's not true. Right now, I know people that are looking for jobs that can't get a job now because of the fact that everybody says that they're hiring, but nobody's actually hiring. Everybody's in Indeed. Everybody's on all of these other social sites to actually get a job, but nobody actually hires.
We're building wealth for people, but we have to do more. First thing I have to do is stop it from being turned around. For example, you talked about the border didn't pass. Well, guess what? We're going to pass that border. It's overwhelmingly supported by Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate. But because I don't know this for a fact, but I was told that Trump was picking up the phone, calling the Speaker of the House saying, don't let it pass. Why? Not because he doesn't think it's good, because it will benefit Biden.
No, that's not true. It's because of the fact that the border bill is just not a good border bill. It's not going to actually fix anything because of the fact that you have the executive power to do so, because you did that on your first day of office, Joe Biden. That's what you did. You signed 54 executive orders on your first day. So why the heck are you sitting here saying, oh no, you can't fulfill that executive order now? Yes, you can fulfill the executive order to secure the border. Remain in Mexico is an executive order policy. All of these policies that you have retracted on the first day of office or the first week of office, all of these things can be done once again to protect our border, but you don't want to do so. And instead, you want to entrap Republicans and say, oh no, this is nonpartisan. If you really cared about the border, then why'd you sign the bill? Yes, that's because of the fact that we're trying to come together with you. But of course, it's just a trap and all Republicans see that. It's disgusting. Don't try to trap Republicans and then whine when they don't fall into your trap.
For somebody who's been doing this as long as you have, you can't get aid for Ukraine passed. And it seemed like for a long time, the American people agreed that Russia was the threat. And all of a sudden now you see a Republican Party that is aid Ukraine and they're fighting against. Seems like Donald Trump is saying Russia can do whatever they want to NATO countries. Are you shocked?
Like that's what he is saying. He's been saying it all along. He's been saying it when he ran the last time.
Okay, so now we had two different points in this comedy sketch, because this is so funny, by the way. So the thing is, at the beginning, we had this war in Ukraine for 2 years. Now they're fighting over inches of land. Is that really a war that we want to continue? When Ukraine or Ukrainians are fighting in a war that they're losing so many people, Russia's losing so many people, should we continue this war after 2 years if the result of this is only going to be a couple inches of land? Area over here, and then they lose this area over here. Are we really going to continue this military operation if the war is only resulting in a couple of inches of land? It does not make any sense. Now's the time to just say, listen, Putin, here's a carrot and the stick. If you choose to get rid of your military officials, what we'll do is we'll make sure that you keep Crimea. You already took Crimea. You will have Crimea. We need to end the war. And we need to go to Zelensky and say, listen, I know. Blame me as the president. Go to your people and say, listen, we need to end this war. I am forced. America does not want to support me anymore, whatever. That's what Zelensky should say. But instead, Zelensky is saying, oh, no, I will not even hold an election if you don't give me the money that I need. What is this? Now you're a tyrant. Now we should say, okay, obviously we're not going to give you any more money because now you're using it as hostage. You're using the democracy that we have in your country as hostage. It's not right. So of course, now when we go into a different situation, when we go into what he just brought up, that's a total different situation here.
The idea that any American, think about this. If I told you all there was going to be an American president who said, Putin, come do whatever you want to NATO. If the other guys on our team don't pay up every single cent they promise to pay for, I mean, God, what are we talking about here?
Yes, we know. What are you talking about here? Exactly. So you're just very confused here. So Trump actually went to other countries and said, listen, if you don't pay your dues for NATO, because you never pay your dues, America is the only one paying their dues when it comes to NATO. If there is a war, America is going to be the one that's paying for it. You must pay your dues to NATO so we can actually have a support system for each other. This is not a one-way street, buddy. It's a 5-way street, or however many countries are in NATO. It's probably like 15, 20 countries. We need to sit here and say, we're going to work together here. You're going to contribute some money to NATO. You're going to contribute to your money to NATO. So we have a slush fund just in case anything happens. And then they come to Trump and they say, oh, well, what if I don't pay my dues? Then Trump says, no, I'm not going to protect you then because you didn't protect yourself by investing your money that you have into NATO. Everything that is there now, all the lands that they're fighting for now is going over 1 inch, over this way, 1 inch. They gain this. Why would we protect you if you didn't pay? Just like Apple. If you have Apple Music and you didn't pay for that year, but then all of a sudden you have a dance party planned, and then you go to Apple and you say, well, I have a dance party planned. Can you just give me Apple Music because I didn't pay for it? No. Apple would not give you Apple Music if you didn't pay for it. It's just that simple. If you don't pay your subscription to the service, then you don't get the service. It doesn't make any sense here. And of course, Trump says, no, you know what? I'm not only going to sit here and say that you're not going to be protected, I will tell Putin to attack you. And obviously it's a joke. He's not going to tell Putin to attack a country, but it's just the thing of it. He's like, no, I'm being serious, man. You need to pay your dues. And then guess what? All of the countries pay their dues to NATO. So did that work? Yes, it did. Joe Biden, on the other hand, is weak. He would never do something like that. And he's going to let all the other countries walk all over America. We want a strong leader that knows how to govern, knows how to lead, knows how to demand exactly what we need to get the results that actually result in us flourishing, us actually benefiting for once instead of getting taken advantage of. And that's why so many people loved Trump, including myself. And I continue to love Trump. That's why I support him in 2024. We do have a sponsorship from Avergio Studios. Now, of course, if you do support the show and you do want to support everything that I do here at Avergio Studios, please click the link down below and use code Dimitri for 15% off. We do have things like this, and we do have things like this, which is like a water bottle. This is a Common Sense Isn't Common. And then we do have pillows and shirts and sweaters, stuff like that. Check it out in the link down below. Okay, so starting off, we actually have the primary that was happening in Michigan. Now, it's very, very interesting because every single primary that we have, somehow Nikki Haley just takes it and says, I won. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. How did you win if you don't even have the majority of the primary? You didn't win at all. So I'm just not understanding where she's coming from when it comes to this aspect. And I don't get where she's coming from with a lot of other aspects. Starting with the Daily Wire article, we actually have the Michigan primary. So obviously Trump defeated Nikki Haley, former President Donald Trump, Republican Party presidential primary that's a mouthful, on Tuesday night, beating former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley by more than 30 points. Of course, Trump is in the lead. Trump is the more popular candidate. All of these people that are saying that Nikki Haley even has a chance are lying to themselves. I just don't understand why people want to lie to themselves and say, listen, oh yeah, Nikki Haley, yeah, she has a chance. No, she's dead in the water. She has no chance in hell. She did not win any of the other primaries, and we're going to actually be breaking down what she got in the other primaries that we already had. She got nothing close to what Trump got, especially in Nevada, which we will be talking about, which is just hilarious. So the AP called the race short after the polls closed in the state, with 12% of the votes being counted, and Trump already led Nikki Haley by 66%. Dead in the water, like I said. We have a very simple task. We have to win November 5th. Trump, speaking of the November's general election, told Michigan's GOP Watch Party in Grand Rapids, "We win Michigan, we will win the whole thing. November 5th, we're going to get Biden out," Trump added. "We're going to change our country. We're going to bring our country back." Now, when I say this, and I'm like, oh no, Nikki Haley's dead in the water, blah, blah, blah. I have comments saying, oh, well, this is not just a nomination. We're just not nominating somebody and saying that you don't have to fight for it. No, I'm saying, Trump, fight for it. It makes you stronger. I like the primary season. I'm like, battle it out, guys. Who's going to take the lead? Who's going to lead us to actually make our country better in the future? That's exactly what we should be looking at. We should be looking at all the other candidates, choosing the best candidate. And obviously there was other candidates in the past that were a little bit better. I agree. But the thing is, that's not who the people want. And it doesn't matter who the other candidates were if you don't have any support. So what matters is the support. Can you win? That's the two things that actually matter. All of your other ideas, it does not even matter. You can be the most derelict person in the world, just like Joe Biden, and you can win, which Joe Biden did in 2020. So, I mean, we can say whatever we want about the rules that they changed, about the rules that they didn't change, whatever. I'm not going to get into that in this episode. I already got into it exactly when it happened. But the thing is, the thing, we have Joe Biden as president, whatever. So, obviously, you need to win the presidency. So, your ideas, you need to actually put that to flourish. You need to convince people that you actually have the ideas that the people actually want. You need to tell the people what they want before they even want it. That's what Vivek Ramaswamy was doing. And that's exactly why he got so far in his candidacy, because of the fact that he was a no-name candidate getting, 12% of the vote at the time? That's really good. Ron DeSantis, it was supposed to be like this isn't even a challenge. Ron DeSantis is going to win. No. And then you see the primary play out, and then Ron DeSantis drops, boom. And then Trump takes the lead, and then boom. So, yeah, by this time last year, we thought that Ron DeSantis was going to win. I read his book, Ron DeSantis, The Courage to Be Free by Ron DeSantis. I actually have it right over here. You guys can't see it. I have it right on my bookshelf. It's very, very interesting. I love Ron DeSantis. But the thing is, he didn't have the support, so it doesn't matter, right? Trump has dominated all of the primaries thus far, posting double digits victories in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. Haley claimed that the result of Michigan showed that Trump was weak. Let this serve as another warning sign that what has happened in Michigan will continue to play across the country. An aide for Haley slammed the Michigan GOP, calling it fractured and divided, and saying that if Trump was the nominee, Republicans will be losing the socialist left, which I don't believe so at all, because of the fact that Trump already has 120 delegates, and that was before Michigan, and Nikki Haley only has 22 delegates. So, of course, you need 270 to win. So, Nikki Haley, what is your action plan to actually get the 270 delegates that are needed? If Trump already has 122, you can't take delegates from Trump now. So are you going to win all of the other things? And then you're still not even going to get 270. You're only going to get, 50? And Trump's going to get the other 220. So, of course, then at that point, you need to drop out, because you're the person that's going to make us lose. You staying in are pushing down all of the other people. So, no, Nikki Haley, you need to get out of there. need to actually accept that you're not going to win. You need to accept that, no, Trump does not want to debate you because he's scared of you. That's not true. He wants to actually, he has no action plan as to why it would benefit him to actually debate somebody that has a 0% chance of actually winning the election. It doesn't make much sense here. Now, Joe Biden is going to use the same exact tactic. He's going to use the same exact plan. Of course, Joe Biden's going to say, no, I'm not going to debate you because of the fact that you have a 0% chance, whatever. But that's actually not factually true. Obviously, we can see that Trump has won. You can see in the Virgin Islands, he got 74% to 26%, Trump to Haley. South Carolina, Trump won 59.8% to 39.50%. New Hampshire, Trump won 54.6% to 43.2%. Iowa, Trump won 51% and Haley won 19.1%. And in Nevada, where I was talking about before, Trump won 99.2%. He wasn't even on the ballot, to 0% to Nikki Haley. Michigan, which was actually yesterday, Trump got 68.1% and Haley got 26.5%. So what is she talking about? Oh, 30%? No. Listen, this is not just based off of the one place that you just had your primary. It's not based off of that. What it is based off of is America broadly. America broadly, 30% of Americans do not want Trump. That's not true. Or 30% of Republicans. That's not true. And I can't picture that being true. It's probably less than that. It's the never Trump candidates, but then there's also never Nikki Republican electors. So it's like at the same exact time, this very thing happens on both sides. So moving on to the next article, we actually have an AP article. Now, I don't really enjoy AP, the Associated Press. They are very associated. They're not associated. They're very associated. They're very partisan. They act like they're nonpartisan. It's just sad. It's very sad. But let's move into the article here because it's kind of interesting. Hunter Biden to appear for a closed-door interview with Republicans conducting impeachment inquiry. Now, of course, they're trying to impeach Joe Biden. It's just for the principle of it. Just like how they did Mayorkas, they impeached him. Obviously, he had no charges on him. It was just a purely political impeachment. That's exactly what they did to Trump. It was a purely political impeachment. There was no need to impeach Trump 2 different times. Now the excuse that they made, of course, they can make whatever excuse they very much please to actually impeach Trump. But as far as the facts go, it was factually not correct. It was statistically not correct. It's exactly what you're supposed to do as president. So, of course, that's why I'm saying it was incorrect for them to do so. Now, it is correct for them to prosecute Mayorkas because he's not prosecuting and he's not actually following the law. But the thing is, his boss, which is the president of the United States, told him to do that, told him not to follow the rules. So if anybody should be impeached, it should be Joe Biden. Hunter Biden is set to appear Wednesday on Capitol Hill for a closed-door deposition with lawmakers, a critical moment for Republicans as their impeachment inquiry into his father and their family business affairs teeters on the brink of collapse. The deposition will mark a deceptive point for the 14-month Republican investigation into the Biden family, which has centered on Hunter Biden and his overseas work for clients in Ukraine, China, Romania, and other countries. So the thing is, obviously, this is a partisan hack. At the same exact time, we can see here and say, listen, just comparing apples to apples, if Trump was to ever do any business in China or Russia, they would already say, oh, Russia, oh, Russia collusion, oh, Ukraine collusion, oh. Just a few years ago, they were nonstop talking about how Ukraine is corrupt and it's a money laundering scheme of a country and blah, 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 all of these different things. And then as soon as they face off against Russia, which they see as evil or more evil in their eyes, then they say, oh, no, now Ukraine is good and Russia's bad. And then Russia, the Russian collusion hoax and stuff like that. Of course, they nonstop talk about Russia, and Putin. So of course, and if anybody is against Putin, then they take the side of the person that is against Putin because they never want to take Putin's side. Yeah, after conducting dozens of interviews and obtaining more than 100,000 pages of documents, Republicans have yet to produce direct evidence of misconduct by the president. Okay, so that's not true whatsoever. They actually followed up with a actual payment directly to Hunter Biden's house, which coincidentally was Joe Biden's house. And then we have direct text messages from WhatsApp saying from Joe Biden to Joe Biden's brother or sister, I forget exactly who it was, saying, listen, I pay all the bills around here. I pay dad's bills. I pay this bills. I pay that bills. He was complaining about the money aspect of it, and he was complaining about paying too many bills. And then at the same exact time, we can sit here and say, save 13% for the big guy. Who's the big guy? Who's the big guy? It's obviously Joe Biden. And then at the same exact time, we see Joe Biden say to Hunter Biden also at the same exact time say, oh, well, you must pay these bills because of the fact that I gave you exactly what you have in life, and I gave you the job. I gave you the opportunities. And then, of course, Burisma, if they don't hire him in the board of directors and they investigate him, they loom an investigation over other electrical companies in Ukraine or in Romania, in China, stuff like that. That's exactly what they do here. It's just old-fashioned corruption. It literally is just that. And then at the same exact time, Hunter Biden would be in a business meeting, quote unquote, and then he would say, oh, well, yeah, I have connections to my dad. Let me just call him up. And then Joe Biden would be on the phone. And he's like, how's the weather? And then Hunter Biden's like, oh, see, it's good. See, that's my dad there. And then he hangs up the phone with his dad. So, of course, there's no need to actually take a call during a business meeting unless you want to actually have some influence and you're calling somebody that you could use to your benefit. If let's just say that I was in a middle of meeting with somebody or talking to a friend, I'm not going to answer the phone to somebody that I know has nothing to do with the conversation unless it's my parents or my sister or my family members very close to me. If I'm hanging out with somebody, I'm typically not going to answer the phone unless it's one of my family members because of the fact that I know it's going to take away from the connection or the time I'm going to be spending with the other person. Just like during a business meeting, you're not going to take away from the business meeting to just call your father, which you could just call after or somebody like that. It depends on the importance of the business meeting, of course. Obviously, Hunter Biden is going to be getting millions of dollars in this deal, so of course it's beneficial for him to actually pick up the phone call to his dad. And he actually texted one of the Burisma board of directors, and he said, listen, I have my dad right here. We're not playing around. You need to fix this ASAP. So, of course, he's using his dad as influence in many of these different things. The AP News and all of the other MSN, which is a mainstream media networks, don't want to admit that because they want to act like Hunter Biden is just a special child and he does nothing wrong here and Hunter Biden does nothing wrong here. Yeah, that's not true here. We can't beat around the bush. That's not true. Okay, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden has been corrupt figures in the politics sphere since Joe Biden was senator. Now, of course, Joe Biden keeps flip-flopping. He keeps saying, oh, no, gay marriage. And then in 2008, he says, no, marriage is between a man and a woman. So, of course, nobody can even pick a side when it comes to anything because 5 seconds later, they change everything. So it's not right. Moving on to the next segment, we actually have the media's takes.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
So, moving with the first article, we actually have a CNN article. We have Biden has 8 months to fix his Michigan problem. Now, no, he had since yesterday to fix his Michigan problem because that was a primary. Of course, he's going to win the primary. So, yeah, I would say in November, but then early voting takes place. So, it all depends on exactly what happens. Obviously, people all around the country are just sick of Joe Biden's nonsense, sick of the Joe Biden administration, sick of the lying, sick of the teeter-tottering, sick of the milquetoast, just flimsy on foreign aid, foreign politics. It's just disgusting all around. He does not know what he's doing. He's destroying the world. with his disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, with his war in Ukraine, with his war now in Israel, and now there's going to be a war in Asia if China just wants to take Taiwan. So if China takes Taiwan, then we're not going to have chips for our cars, and car prices are going to skyrocket, and then making everything else skyrocket because everything else is going to be so expensive. So not good. Now, of course, we have CNN's excuse for this over here. We have, if the Democratic voters of Michigan and a handful of other swing states are feeling unaccompanied in November, Joe Biden could lose re-election. Now, of course, they're actually starting to realize that this is a very big possibility that Joe Biden might lose. Tuesday's primary, in which tens of thousands of Democratic primary votes cast protest ballots over the president's support of Israel, made clear that he faces a battle for his own coalition and political base that he must win if he is to defeat likely Republican nominee Donald Trump. Of course, Donald Trump's going to be the nominee. The stakes could not be any higher, since he has a good chance that the candidate who captures Michigan in the fall will return to the White House for a second term. But while Biden can seek to mitigate his issues with the state's thousands of suburban Arab American voters, his chances of easing his vulnerabilities may depend on something that might be out of his power: the return to peace in the Middle East, in the end of Israel's operation in response to Hamas terror attacks last October. Now, this leads us into exactly what he was saying the other day, and he said that they're going to make a peace agreement by the end of the week. He's going to have an announcement when it comes to that very thing, but I do not believe him because Israel made no such claim. So he's just making things up as he goes now at this very moment, because he wants the people to have that in their mind as they're voting. Of course, you can't manipulate the voters like that, because there's something called facts and logic, and you can actually just look at Israel's X account or Twitter account, and you can see that there was no such talks of a peace agreement. So it doesn't make a lot of sense here. Now, obviously, we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Joe Biden went on Seth Meyers. Of course, it's not funny. I just don't understand why it is funny, but this leads us to another article. We have a CNN article. We have Biden warns Israel of disseminating international support over Gaza offensive. Now, of course, people are losing support for Israel for protecting itself, so it doesn't make a lot of sense here. Of course, there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to this. Of course, there's a lot of photos from quote-unquote buildings that were supposed to be one thing, but then they're actually something different, because Hamas likes to lie, especially when it comes to the death count. Of course, you don't know the death count immediately after something happens, or else you place the people there, so it doesn't make a lot of sense here. Of course, after Hamas attacked Israel on October 6th, it took Israel weeks and weeks and weeks to actually make sure how many people were actually missing and dead, before actually coming out and saying, oh, well, you killed this many people, you killed this many people. No, Hamas comes out right away, does not verify anything, and just says, you killed this many people, how dare you? And then everybody goes, oh my God, you killed this many people? Well, that's a genocide. No, that's not a genocide. Listen, if this was a genocide, then you would see there would be absolutely no Muslims in Israel. That's not true. There's plenty of Muslims in Israel. How many Jewish people are in Muslim-dominated countries like Afghanistan or Egypt or Iran or Hamas? How many Jewish people are actually in these countries? Not a lot. Definitely not a lot. So what's the point you're making here? His comments to comedian Seth Meyers aired one day before voters head to the polls in Michigan, a critical November battleground state where Arab American activists have been pushing for Democrats to pick uncommitted as a way to protest current United States policy. Biden, a longtime supporter of Israel, has navigated a delicate political path since the war with Hamas began in early October, but the immense death toll in Gaza. Okay, so of course they're going to sit here and say, oh, well, CNN is sitting here saying, oh, well, Israel killed so many people in Gaza. Oh, but the thing is, at the same exact time as what we said yesterday, in Gaza, the terrorists hide within the people. Innocent people, this is a war crime. And of course, when you hide within the people, when you hide within civilian buildings where the civilians are hiding, there's going to be civilian casualties. It's disgusting. I know. It's disgusting that Hamas hides their terrorists in tunnels that were underneath civilian buildings. So if Israel was to blow up the tunnel, let's just say, they're going to blow up the building. Let's just say that they need to go and get a hostage. They'll keep the hostages in Al Shifa Hospital. It's going to be underneath Al Shifa Hospital. So, of course, this is obviously a war crime because you're not supposed to do this. And then they'll put their military bases right next to schools. So, of course, if Israel goes and makes a ground offensive and tries to just target the terrorists will be hiding within plain sight, and then they're going to be hiding within bombs. So let's just say a suicide bomber would be sitting there pretending to be a hostage and saying, "Oh, help me, help me." Israel military goes over there, and then they bomb the Israeli military, and of course, the suicide bomber gets killed as well. But of course, they do it for the higher power, the longevity of the country, so they don't care about dying. But then they killed 2-3 other military officials. So they're making their ground offensive. They're sending so many SMS. They're sending so many calls. They're sending so many warnings. So they're flying down planes, releasing paper into the sky, warning everybody to get out of the areas they're about to bomb. Now, if they need to leave the area, if they don't need to leave the area, they should leave the area. Hamas citizens, because of the fact that they know that the military is hiding within the buildings. Of course, sometimes they're forced to stay there, and that's a sad situation. But then at the same exact time, Israel military goes door to door, making sure exactly who they are, making sure that they're actually targeting the right people, and then tries to go door to door, actually finding the terrorists. But that's how so many of them get killed, because they're going door to door because of the support around the country and the miscommunications and the misconstructions based off of what's actually happening here. It's disgusting. What did he say on Seth Meyers? Well, he said Israel had an overwhelming support for the vast majority of nations, Biden said in an interview with Myers. If it keeps it up with the incredibly conservative government they have, they're going to lose support from around the world. Okay, so that doesn't make any sense now, because the opposition leader for Bibi Netanyahu is actually part of the board of directors for the military. Just like in America, how you have many different people within the military to conduct Joe Biden and to make suggestions on exactly what Joe Biden should do when it comes to military offensive or military defenses around the world. That's exactly why you don't just have Republicans on the board of directors or Democrats on the board of directors when it comes to the military. And you don't just have a couple of people. You have many different people. You have the opposition leader. You have the opposition leader's brother. You have the opposition leader that actually had his son killed in Gaza. And then you have Bibi Netanyahu, of course. You have Bibi Netanyahu's right-hand man, which is the military official. And then you have another military official here. So you have 2 to 3. Of course, they're going to actually make sure that the longevity of Israel is at their main goal here. Because, of course, they wouldn't have a home if Israel was not a nation. Of course, Israel was actually there to protect the Jewish people from discrimination, from all of these other things. That's exactly why Israel is a state. And, of course, it's not just that. It's also all of the biblical aspects of Israel too. I mean, it's the Holy Land. War over the Holy Land has been going on for years and years and years and years, millennia after millennia. Of course, this is a very complex thing. I'm trying to boil it down as few words and as few minutes as I possibly can, but of course, it's a very complex thing here. A lot of people think that they can just sum it up over a few videos that they saw on TikTok. It's not true. Okay, you need to actually have a full understanding of the Middle Eastern war. You need to have a full understanding of exactly where Israel came from, why it's actually there, why everybody actually wants to take it, stuff like that. There's a lot of background understanding that you need to actually have, and then you need to actually see why they're fighting all of these people in the present. You need to see why Hamas is treated the way that they are, because they are destroying their own country. They're using materials that the United States itself gave them for sewerage, and instead of building a sewer place and having the country like the Gaza Strip and like stuff like that actually flourishing like a Tokyo looking place, instead of doing that, they want to have a without sewage. They have outhouses, if they even have something like that, and instead of having a flourishing society, they would rather just have it for terror. And then they're funded by Iran. So they used to have an airport in Hamas in Gaza. But then, of course, they lost their privilege to the airport because they were using that airport to actually launch attacks on Israel. So it doesn't make a lot of sense here. So we're gonna just move into the next article. We do have a video from Joy Reid. Now, of course, a lot of people are just making fun of her. I do want to break it down because it's not making a lot of sense, of course.
The United States has a population of north of 327 million people. Why do we need more kids? I mean, your party, Senator Tuberville, is the one screaming that 10 million immigrants, which I don't even know that number even makes any sense because it doesn't.
Okay, so this is this is Democrat reasoning 101. So, of course, you start off with why do you need kids anyway? Why do you need kids to have a flourishing and happy life? It doesn't even make any sense here. Because it contributes to a happy and flourishing life because if we use your logic, because it does. Actually, I can explain myself a little bit farther. If you have a kid, you actually have somebody that's going to take care of you when you're older. You have somebody that's actually going to love you unconditionally. Of course, if you love your kid unconditionally and you give it unconditional love, then it will give you unconditional love back to you. It's going to love you forever. It's going to be there for you. It's going to be the only thing that's going to be coming straight from you. As a mom, it comes out of you. It grew inside of you. You have an you have an unparalleled connection to this very thing, your baby, your kid, your child, because of the fact that it's the most beautiful thing you will ever create in your entire life. That is an immense respect for you as a mom to actually go through the pain of actually carrying a baby and in raising a baby, and especially with the dad, because it would not happen without the father, of course. The mom and the dad should also stay together, have a flourishing life together, have a flourishing life for the son or the daughter, and then you will have a big happy family for the rest of your life. Of course, when you get older and you need special help, the kid will come back and it will help you out. It will, hopefully help you out, and stuff like that. But also at the same exact time, she also says, oh, well, we have so many people here. We have 10 million people. And then, you know what? The 10 million people coming through the border, that doesn't make any sense because it doesn't. Well, CNN was the one that was reporting on that. So are you saying that you don't agree with CNN? And not only that, it does make sense because of the fact that we're having so many people come through the border illegally every single day. We're not even having them come through the right way. So if you were to do that with any other country, of course you would be shot on sight. But of course this does not happen in America. So of course, instead of just saying, oh, well, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't, I can explain myself way better.
Streamed into the country since Joe Biden has been president, and you're claiming that that's too many people, that if more people come into the southern border, this is some sort of crisis because we've got too many people and we've got no more space and we can't afford more people. But now you're saying we need more kids?
Yeah, but that's not what we're saying whatsoever. We're saying that illegal immigrants that are coming through this country illegally should not be here in this country illegally because they are illegal. Legal citizens, the kids that you have as a legal citizen of America are legal, and thus they should stay in America. That's exactly the thing that we're having. We do not have exactly one extra space for illegal immigrants because they're illegal. They did not come through the border legally, which means that we do not have any background checks on them. We do not know who they are. They could be a terrorist. So they are illegal. So what is your point exactly? Does not make any sense here.
Can you explain?
I did.
Who's the we and what's the purpose? You're also a senator from the state of Alabama. God help the people there. Are you saying the state of Alabama needs more kids? Why does the state of Alabama need more kids? More kids for what? There was a time when the state of Alabama absolutely needed more kids because, Alabama was a slave state. And the mandate.
So now we got to the base of your argument here. So now you're saying that just because you need more kids, it's slavery and it's racism. That doesn't make any sense here. So of course you need flourishing kids you need children to have a flourishing life, and you need to have kids to actually have you need to actually have kids to help you out in life. Maybe your kid can get a job when he's a little bit older, or she's a little bit older, and help out around the house. You can have chores done by your kids, of course. your kids will be there unconditionally when you get older. Of course, all of the reasons why I already said. Of course, at the same exact time, we do not have slavery, and we did not have slavery in America for about 2 generations, maybe 3 generations at this point, because your grandparents were around during slavery. So that is a pretty long time ago. Of course, I forget who this Joy Reid wasn't. Her parents weren't even born in America, so she had no play in slavery whatsoever. So what is she complaining about exactly? Just because you want more kids? Yes, we should have more kids because it actually makes sure that society keeps going on and on and on instead of just coming to a grinding halt. Because there's not going to be kids because people are continuing to die every single day, and it's a sad thing that they die, but they do. They die, and we need a replacement in America. Of course, if we have the replacement for illegal immigrants, we're not going to have, quote unquote, a melting pot of America. What we are going to have is we're going to have another Mexico. We're going to have another other country. We're not going to have America anymore. We're going to have another Venezuela. We're going to have another Mexico. We're going to have another Dominican Republic. We're going to have other countries that are not America because we're going to have so many of those people instead of our people in America because they're all dead throughout the times. It doesn't make any sense.
The planter class in Alabama was for black women to produce more kids because those kids were property and they could work more kids and make more money on their plantations. Are you saying the state of Alabama needs more kids because you think that those populations will include people who are maybe destitute and desperate enough if you kick out the immigrants like a lot of y'all want to do and you could make them do the work that the migrants are doing now? Because that kind of sounds slavery-ish.
Okay, so I hope she realizes what she's saying does not make any sense here. Of course, you're going to have kids in America and you're going to have the American people have American jobs instead of the immigrant jobs because, of course, that will make sure that we keep the jobs here in America, obviously. I mean, I hope she realizes this. If she does not realize this, I just don't know what she's doing at Harvard or what she did at Harvard. She probably just twiddled her thumbs.
Is the state of Alabama the we? And is that the why? I mean, you're also a white guy. Are you saying the we is white folks need more kids? Is this like a great replacement thing where you're concerned that there's not enough white people in the population versus the growth of the Latino population, the black population, and the Asian American population, and so the we is white people?
Did Tuckerville ever say that? Because you're just pulling things out of your rear now. Joy Reid, it does not make a lot of sense here. Of course, we're going to need more kids in America to make sure that America is continuing as a country. If you do not have American citizens here in America, then you're not going to have America as a country. And of course, you want to give all of these free money things to all of these other citizens in America. So who's going to be paying for these things? If the illegal immigrants get paid in cash because they're illegal, they cannot have a job, then who is actually paying the government? Who's paying tax money? And how are we going to get these incentives that you yourself, Joy Reid, wants to pay out to the people? Because it's not these illegal immigrants that are going to be paying for it. It's us, the people, that are going to be paying for the taxes that you want to demand that we pay for. It does not make any sense.
Make white women have more kids, and that's the we, and that's the why, because it's a little creepy. A little Handmaid's Tale-y, don't you think?
Your eyes are a little Handmaid's Tale-y, don't you think? Because your eyes just look crazy. Of course, when you don't even make any sense, you just look like a crazy lunatic, as you do. So, of course, obviously we need more kids. We need more kids no matter who you are. Black, white, Latino, and Indian, anyone. You need more kids to continue America. You need more American jobs to keep jobs in America. It's so simple. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. And this is leftist politics 101 here. Leftist politics is just make everything racist and then you automatically win the article or the debate. That's not true. Not true whatsoever because it's never been about race. This argument has never been about race. It's about keeping jobs in America. It's about keeping things through the citizens of America and not going to other places or other people to get American jobs done. Because that doesn't keep jobs here in America. It ships jobs outward. It gets things cheaper, yes, but also at the same exact time, we need more jobs for American citizens. So, moving into the next article, we actually have a Daily Wire article. We have Democrats signal they might not certify a Trump win in 2024. Excuse me. Is this an insurrection? Is this an insurrection here? I saved this article for last, and I wanted to save it until after that video because, these Democrats here, they're setting themselves up for failure because in 2020, the people of America were questioning the election and said, wait a second, why did a pipe burst in the middle of the night? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? And then they're saying, whoa, are you questioning the election? Yes, I very much am questioning the election. Thank you very much. Let's send this to the Supreme Court. Now, of course, they're saying, no, that's racist. You can't do that. Why would you question the election? No, what I said goes. And then now they're saying, no. This election here, if Trump wins, no, we can't have Trump win. This is exactly what you did in 2016 also. So every single election year, you just question the election, and the one year you don't. 2016 and 2020, you question 2016, you question the election. And then in 2020, you don't question the election. In 2024, you will question the election. It doesn't even make you just look like a hypocrite. Moving with the article, numerous House Democrats have signaled that they will not certify the 2024 presidential election win for Donald Trump, relying on the 14th Amendment to claim that Trump is an insurrectionist and thus ineligible from holding office. Democrats, including Reps James Corbin, South Carolina, Jamie Raskin, Minnesota, Adam Schiff from California, Eric Swalwell from California, and even House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries refused to say that they will confirm Trump to office if he wins in 2024. So that means that they're all up for impeachment if they do not certify the election, because that is a federal crime. You need to do your job. You need to certify the election if there's no question about it. There's no question about it. We have a very, very good election process in America. If you do question the election, you go up to the Supreme Court and you prove your case. If there is a case and the Supreme Court says, listen, we don't want to be involved in this. The Supreme Court does not want to be involved in this, but if they have to, they will. Okay? That's exactly what will happen here. Of course, they will keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again until they finally win, finally get somewhere in life, because, of course, the people do not want to vote for the Democrats at this point here. So with that being said, that's going to end off this episode. If you do like this episode and you do want to see more, please like and subscribe down below, because I do post new episodes of the show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying, and I hope they have a great rest of your day.